Welcome back. It's been a full 2 weeks since Series 5 and we're here at the start of 6.1, the first race in Series 6. 14 seconds to go. Now you'll see that the countdown clock is now in the middle of the screen. That's after an update, and apparently a lot of riders who didn't do the update didn't have this where it used to be in the bottom right hand corner, and so some people may have been a little bit slow off the start. Let's see how it goes. That's the usual sort of fast pace off the front. They're looking at over 40 kph there for the leaders, and it usually regroups a little bit as it all settles down and people sort of get on and form the first peloton, and that's beginning to happen. You can see that first peloton forming. Look at the trail back though. 142 riders started this race, and it's quite a high number. As I say, it's the first race of Series 6, 16 kilometres, which is pretty much the target distance for all these races, and as I say, it will be fast and furious, and it will all be about keeping in the right pelotons. At the moment there seems to be a main peloton forming at the front, probably around 80-90 riders I would guess. Not quite sure at the moment, and you can see those just about trying to cling on and stay with it, and those gradually getting dropped off the back. Once you're off the back, I don't think you really get back on, and you can see now 2 or 3 riders managed to get back on, but that gap back is, I don't know, probably it's touch and go with those riders just behind will actually get back on this, and I think they might, but it's a lot of work getting back on anyway. One rider just getting back in there, one rider very, very close. Will they get in there or not? We shall have to look. Looking at some of the names in there, it's nice to see such a big bunch. And some great names in there as you'd expect. The usual faces, John Sammet I see in there, Matt Looker from 3R No Pins, or No Pins 3R I should say. Some great, actually some good people in there that you wouldn't necessarily expect, and they've done well to get into that first peloton, and if they can stay in there a long time they can score some good points tonight. So well done everybody who's managed to get in there and perhaps not one of the race favourites. This is a great opportunity. I see Nick Lee in there, and Hepburn riding for Glasgow United, Marcin Skuderet from Ruislip in Poland, and who else we got in there? Gordon Jackson I think, Francisco Zapota, just plucking out sometimes. Tobias Bjork, who rides for West London, is one of our riders. Hamilton in there, and who else? James Melville of course. You expect Caroline Reuter. Well done Caroline. That's a good place to be, and if you can stay in this and get well ahead in the Ladies League, that gives you a great opportunity to score good Ladies League points. I don't know how many ladies are in this race, but the way it works is the first lady home scores 100 points, then you deduct the number of places back each subsequent lady is and take that number from 100. Point being, if you can get in a good peloton and get ahead and make sure there's a lot of male riders in between you and the next lady, you score a lot of extra points, even though in the ladies competition you're only one place ahead of the next lady. So it's all exciting stuff. We have to do a bit of calculation afterwards to get that right. I see Danielle Gaunt in there as we go back and look at some of the other riders featured today. Kimber in there, I see Danielle Gaunt, Fraser, Jessica Wright's in there, Judy Frankel, who signed up today, Lisa West from Twickenham Cycling Club, Cause Lisa Snell, and representing the Snell family and West London, Riley, Jill Brown in there, and who else have we got? Oh, Gavin Grant, who lives down in the south of France. I think he's retired down there, I might be wrong, but some great perennial riders that we love to have on there. And right at the back, West London bot, who's not actually racing. That's me, and that's how we film it. Back to the front, James Melville for Glasgow United now putting a bit of pressure on the front. Just coming up to 3 kilometres gone and pushing out over 40 kph, so decent speed. And this is a reasonably flat course. There's one small ramp you can see if you look along the right in the bottom of your screen, just under the words VR. Tom Gates pushing out the front there, as usual on his upright bike. Not that it matters, because there's no wind resistance in these races, of course. So how will this pan out? I think it will probably be something of a bunch sprint finish, but I don't think the bunch will stay this big. I think it's going to break up at some point. 37 kph. It's not the fastest we've ever seen, but it's nevertheless fast, and the guys on the front will start putting some pressure on at some point, and I think start seeing if they can thin this down a little bit. Nice to see a couple of Southwood District Wheelers jerseys in there. Not sure who they are. I'm guessing Simon Miller, maybe Tom Moss as well. And who else? We've got Caroline Reuter still in there. Great stuff, Caroline. Well done. Secure the Bag there for Australia. No idea what Secure the Bag's name is. Get some decent results across the platform, and has a few Strava KOMs as well. So look out for Secure the Bag, strong rider. Who else we got in this little group? It's quite a big group. Looking for some of the names you'd expect. I see David Buckley's in there. Well done, David. Tim Cummins in there. Again, the purple jerseys, riding for Westerly. And there's a little breakaway on the front there. This probably won't last. But Nick Greenhouse in there for Ratio Racing. Brearley. And it's all being pulled together. Another Ratio rider coming up there. I see somebody from OTR. So Glasgow United, a couple of OTR jerseys, Moon Riders in there. Moon Riders in the green, but with the white jersey with the green band across, and OTR on the rivet, that stands for. A couple of riders up the front there. They've got white jerseys, black shorts with the green stripe, and you can see a few of those in there. The 3 Southwood District Wheelers I see in there, they're the yellow, black and red jerseys. The draft rider down at the bottom here, I think, is pretty much Ned Bowen at the bottom of your screen. Current champion. Ned will try and sit in there. He's alongside Tom Gates there in the upright bike. So they're both riding for Team Draft, and expect them to probably, not so much Tom, but certainly Ned, he will cannily stay in the group there. So 4.8 kilometres to go, coming up to not quite a third of the way around the course. I'm delighted to see some West London jerseys in there as well, so well done whoever that is. Miles Askew in there for Moon Riders, I see. Now you can see some pressures going on the front. This has gone up a little bit. It's now 44 kph, and you see people just being pushed off the back. Caroline Reuter a victim there. Tobias Bujork for West London falling off, and Negro way back there, not going to get back into that group anytime soon. So you're seeing those little splits and drop-offs where that pressure goes on the front, and you look at Negro, he's running at 42 kph on his own. That takes some effort, and he's been dropped by the bunch. This is strong riding, even at 39, and the gradient's slightly uphill. Judith Newton in there, riding just ahead of Nyland from Sweden. And who else have we got? Oh my goodness, Tim Cummings has got a dropout. This is really bad news. Tim was in the front group. He's being overtaken there by another group. He's losing places, and hopefully they'll come back for Tim. He's a strong rider, but he's not going to get great points tonight by his own standards. That is for sure. So we look back, and there's Tim again. Shields coming round, and what else have we got here? Keith Gale. Always sounds like he plays for Wimbledon FC, if anybody's old enough to remember Keith Gale, and the crazy bunch of Wimbledon Football Club back in the day. And Kevin Unsworth, 112th. He usually finishes higher than that, but we don't usually have over 100. Serena Race in there, Not Real Rides, Carl Bailey and Maria Witsky from Puerto Rico in there. Mendes Covey coming back here. Wendy Wonderwheels Gallagher with Danielle Gaunt. Wendy Wonderwheels riding for Riak now, those blue jerseys. We'll talk about them a little bit during the race as we go back. Lisa West from Twickenham there in the Twickenham jersey. Jessica Wright, 127th. That's way ahead of some people, so she'll be pleased. Fraser from Twickenham, another one of the Twickenham riders, just in front of Jose Espinosa. Judy Frankel and Kuz there, the back. Linda Van Dyke from Australia and Lisa Snell. Pace taking up position. Eiley at the back, 136th. Kimber, 137th. Getting to the back now. I don't know how many riders are still there. 137 because it gets back to me and the bot. So let's have a look at the front of the race. Again, a slight graphics issue, as it looked like we went off-road, but we didn't. Jan Varner taking it up at the front there in an Opens jersey. That's the light blue and purple. The other light blue jerseys you're seeing around there's a few actually. The totally light blue ones are RIAC, and we'll pick out some of the team jerseys. Quite a few teams in this. I see Roy the Rocket Neal is in there, riding for Moon Riders, Hepburn for Glasgow United, and what else we've got? Doug Hart, we haven't mentioned him yet. Wouter Calais is in there in 3rd position at the moment. We haven't mentioned him as well. These are the big names, and Wouter Calais was I think all set to take the title. Kristen Edge, in there as well. Who else have we got? So I say Doug Hart, Per Soderberg in there, Bard Brearley. These are the names you might see at the front. Now those, let's go back to these jerseys. So those light blue sort of patterned with the little purple bits, they are no pins. And you can see there's another sort of pink jersey with red, black and white on it. That's a 3R jersey as well, so that's a different 3R jersey. There's 3R no pins and 3R, and the other ones you can see there. Just trying to pick one out. There's one just went under the front of the screen there. They're RIAC. RIAC is Richard Acker's team. RI standing for Richard. So you go through the halfway mark at 40 kph. So relentless speed here. Slightly dropping just there as there's a gradient ups a little bit. There's not much of a gradient on this course. It's fairly flat territory as we go sort of largely east to west along the side of a valley. So as I say, there's 3 different types of light blue jersey in there. RIAC, and RIAC, as I say, Richard Acker's team. RI for Richard and AK, first 2 letters of Ackers. Now, see some of those no war jerseys in there, so you can't tell their teams necessarily. OTR we've already described. Ratio Racing, they will tend to have orange helmets, black kit with orange writing on, and I think that's probably it. Team Draft in the red, and there's a couple of Southborough riders still in here, so that's good to see. John Sammer in there for Pokemotion. They tend to wear GBR kits. There we are. You can see John there in that GBR kit with the orange helmet in the middle. So these are the riders and teams to look out for. Moon Riders are the current champions. I think you can expect a bit of a challenge from No Pins 3R. In fact, both 3R teams, and possibly RIAC as well. There's certainly, I think, going to be a bit of a tussle at the top of the teams standings this series. Andrew Beale there in 57th. He'll be slightly disappointed with that. Obviously dropped off the group. And as we go back, this is Andy Beale, but he needs to get in the group just behind him. See Simon Hall there for Watford Velo way back in 79. So I was expecting Tom Moss for Southborough District Wheelers there in the yellow, black and red back in this. So this is very much a second bunch. Sorry, that was a second bunch. We're back up to the first bunch now, and we see people like Secure the Bag and Nick Lee, Matt Hooker riding for No Pins 3R, Marciak, all in there in this group, and this group is now getting ever more select, and if you're in this group you're in with a good shout of winning. I think it's going to be a bunch sprint. I suspect that the pressure will be put on as we go, and here's the sort of man that does that. It's Doug Hart off the front for Pedlars, just creating that pressure. Marciak for Ratio Racing, chasing him down. Is he going to create a gap? There's something like 15 metres back to 4th place. Gower from Twickenham and Dobson from Southborough in there, but I think that's not enough of a gap. 20 metres at the moment. Will it hold? 3 of them out the front, Marciak, Hart and Saeed Keradine, who actually joined at the last minute, a late addition to the race. He looks back to see what the gap is. It's 17 metres. They need more than that if that's going to stick. I mean, there's still 5.5 kilometres to go. 20 metres is not going to hold, and it's already closing down. You see names like Nick Greenhouse, Secure the Bag, Rob Miller there, all coming back. Wouter Calais, all in there. Andrzej Krajewski also in that pack. So this is probably going to be in vain in terms of getting a breakaway, but as I said before, what this does is put pressure on the back of that peloton, and it thins the peloton. It reduces the bunch sprint. The bunch sprint can be a lottery, Somebody on the backdrop now could have been a great sprinter, just hanging on to and saving everything to sprint, and if you can lose them now, that's good work. So keep thinning the group down. These attacks off the front are necessary if you're going to do that tactic. So we are in under the last 5 kilometres. It's relentless. It's 43, over 43, nearly 44 kph, and they're on an upward gradient as well. So that is pretty heavy going. That will take people off the back. Tom Gakes there in the upright bike as ever. Aaron from Sweden. Richard Acker's in there, 11th place in that light blue jersey, riding of course for Riak, because that's his team and it's named after him, of course. Julian Fussell in there for Southborough District Wheelies as well. Good play, Julian. And nice to see Southborough with a good complement of riders in this race. Oyster and Per Soderberg in there. Jonathan Crane in there. If you've never watched Jonathan Crane's podcast, you need to. He is a legend in podcasting e-racing across various platforms. Jonathan Crane from the USA, Birmingham, Alabama in that group, and I would expect nothing less. John Samat as well, a name you expect to see in there. Delighted to see Nick Lee in there. Nick doesn't usually race, and so this is a great addition, and he's got off to a great start in his career in these. Jan Vanner in there, Secure the Bag, Ned Bowen. These are names that we'd expect to see in the top 10. However, as usual, we've left it as a fairly benign course, so that we get the biggest bunch sprint we can. Mike Wareham in there as well. And quite often in the first race of the season, somebody who manages to stand the peloton gets, their best result of the season. So the first race of the season quite often doesn't see all the big names in the top 10. Over the series, of course, this changes and they get their place back. I'm slightly sorry for the cough, but we've got Paul Hinton in there as well. Jonathan Crane at 43. So this is quite a big bunch still, well over 40. Matt Looker, the No Pins 3R, has created a heavy gap at the front. That's 20 metres solo, but I think you can see the gap's already been closed down by the peloton, and Bard, No Pins teammate, actually chasing it down with Marciak for Marisak, for Rassier Racing. Kristen Edge in there for Pokemotion as well. John Samet rides for Pokemotion, and so they ride those GBR jerseys, white with red writings, if you want to look out for those. 3 kilometres to go then. Still a relentless speed. It's still 50 kph. I mean, this is slightly downhill to be fair, but no prisoners taken in this. Doug Hart once again putting that pressure on the front. Will anybody drop off the back? You can see there's a few people just straggling a little bit at the back, and this has this effect of just thinning and thinning this group to give the guys who perhaps don't fancy their chances so much in a sprint a little bit more chance, or maybe just eliminate some of your sprint rivals. You can see the effect this is having. Look how ragged that is. There are big gaps, people at the back chasing to stay on, somebody just falling off. It looks like Copsey, Nick Lee just hanging on there, Miles Askew for Moonriders towards the back. It's Per Soderberg and Aaron from Sweden on the front with Nick Greenhouse. Nick Greenhouse likes to play this tactic. He's quite adventurous on the front. Copsey, the victim there, has fallen off, and you can see what it does here. Nick Lee stayed on. Well done, Nick. Hepburn for Glasgow United in there. Wally Gora is in the No War jersey in the Ukraine colours, of course, hanging in there. Bard for No Pins 3R, who are going to probably have an assault on the team title in this series, now pulling away. Doug Hart, no surprise there. Doug Hart says that's not fast enough. This is how you do it. Doug Hart off the front. Bard takes a look behind to see what the gap's like. It's 12 metres. Will they make this stick? There's 1.83 kilometres to go. You could do a breakaway from here, but it would be a long shot, and especially with a group like that behind him. And you can see it's now being closed down. Nick Greenhouse coming in, Briley for No Pins, Rob Miller for 3R, Secure the Bag in there as well. Wouter Clay's making sure that he's in the mix for this final running. Hepburn as well for Glasgow United CC. Nobody clearly dropping off the back at the moment, and Tom Gakes sitting on the back with probably Miles Askew. Neither of those likely to get dropped off the back unless they're very unlucky. 1.38 kilometres to go. We're going to hit the Flamme Rouge soon, and it's going to ramp up I have no idea how much. It's Solly on the front now, Rassio Racing, Norwegian, and you see Tom Gates still sitting at the back there. Nick Lee just dropping off the group a little bit. I think Nick's done superbly to be on this group. Pressure going up. It's 45 kph and an uphill. I mean, it's very slightly uphill, but it's an upward gradient, and they go through the Flamme Rouge, and this now is a race to the line. Who's going to do this? And I think there'll be several digs coming up now, and you see Cesson there, Team ADR, who we haven't mentioned yet. Marisak in there. Matt Hammond, we haven't mentioned him yet, the Rassio Racing rider, of course, taking a little turn on the front. The German Kajan as well on there, but nobody really showing their hand just yet. 650 metres to go. They're still, as a bunch, not clear who's going to actually go for it yet. There's a little bit of a dig there on the right. It is, I think it was Nick. Was it Nick Greenhash? I must have missed that. Sorry. Rob Miller on the front now for 3R. Hepburn on the left. It is that man Doug Hart again, I think, isn't it? It's no surprise there. Down to the last 300 metres now. This is going to be all out. It's Doug Hart on the front. Doug Hart with Aaron Bard, Miles Askew just behind. They're chasing down. There's 170, 160 metres to go. It's going to be between this first 10, and it is Matt Hammond at the front. Ned Bowen in there, but he didn't get it. Who got it? It was Secure the Bag on the left-hand side, just ahead of Matt Hammond. Ned Bowen, Supreme Sprinter, in third place. Marisak for Rassio in fourth. Moonriders only getting fifth, and Jan Vanna in there as well. We'll go through the whole results at the end of this, but wow, that was a fast sprint, and what a finish by Secure the Bag there to secure the win, shall we say. Everybody coming in there. Nick Lee getting in, I think, 41st. I saw there. Mard at 45th coming in next, and we look out who's coming up that. Kopsay, who got dropped, you remember, just holding on to 46th ahead of Bataji. Hamilton back there as well, Canadian. Negro. Stevie Cooper for Glasgow United back in that little group, having been dropped. Sibley in 54th, and we've still got something like well, quite a lot of riders to come in. I'm not sure how many online, but let's assume that it's about 135. And there comes the next bunch sprint. I'm not quite sure who got that. Tom Moss in there, Morris, Lau Mai from the Ile-de-France around Paris, Smedley, Darryl Green for Watford Velo in there, Andrew Sutherland, Simon Hall for Watford Velo as well, putting out another strong team. They've done well in the past. David Buckley, and here's Darryl Green for Watford coming in now, just taking a little bit of fun into the final metres as they sprint between them. Van der Hagen and Fosnick, and there's no sprint there. C. Duffy for Southborough, it clearly takes that spot ahead of Ian Sutterby. Stevens at 85th. Larson 86th. Speed now 8:38. That's quite an effort when you're on your own outside the peloton. So you know, if you're doing those sorts of speeds, look, just under 40 and you get an 86, it might sound a little bit depressing, but do remember that we had 142 starters on the line, and it's very, very hard to do that speed. So this is no mean feat, and 86th is a very respectable position. As is 87th with my friend Tobias Bjork riding for West London VR, the Swede. Danielle, the Belgian, in 88th. As I say, just get a shot of Tobias coming over the line. We're all friends, of course. Ian Suttersby there, and looking at a few of the people on the line. Daniel coming in at 88th there. Nylin is going to be 89th, another Swede who doesn't ride for us, and just covering the last 90 or so metres and over the line. And Nylin, another Swede. So still about 40 riders to come home. Cavalius for Rassio at 90. Caroline Reuter coming at 93, and I do believe that she may well be the leading lady today, so well done, Caroline. Christian Linares from San Antonio in Texas for us, for West London Riding. Reed, Hamilton there, coming over the line. They're coming over thick and fast. Pino Peak's coach, who's been making a lot of comments during the race, and so Tim's Cummins got going again. He'll be very disappointed with 101, but there's room for 101. That's a British joke. If you're not from this country, you won't understand that one. Well done, Tim, for getting back on. Disappointing, but that's Tim for you. He doesn't give up. Shields at 102 will be next. Now, unfortunately, if you get from 100 onwards, you only get 1 point for finishing. The 100th rider gets a 1 point, and everybody else does. Not so in the women's race. We do the way that's calculated. It should ensure that the women's race doesn't have sort of 6 women all scoring 1 point. It's designed to avoid that, and it should do based on, I believe, Caroline Reuter being the first lady, and you work backwards from that number. So all the riders coming in that are male now will get 1 point towards the general classification, and the ladies will get various points depending on the whole distance between them and the next lady, and so on. And we have to sit down and work that one out, I'm afraid. The program doesn't sort it out automatically, so if you are looking at the results afterwards on our website, the ladies league will need some tweaking, and the teams might be slightly wrong too, because Laura Whittingham just coming in, Gilmore next, Polo from La France is next, Kevin Unsworth and Holly Larson from the USA coming in that OTR kit. Keith Gale just behind, Juncker, Shields all coming home now with respectable times as well. 26, this is a 10-mile time trial really. 26 is quite okay. Karen Bailey is next, just following Shields there. We get the look at what it's like to see someone ahead just out of reach, knowing you're not going to catch them, but I'm sure she's enjoyed it anyway. Not real rides, well, they feel like them, but you're right, they're not real rides in the true sense, but they are rides nevertheless, aren't they? So Serena Race Hopkins coming in just behind, well, riding for Riak in that Riak jersey that I was talking about earlier. Ilau, South African, 115th, still got quite a few riders to come in, probably in the region of 20 odd riders still coming in. You can see the comments down the right hand side from the people who finished, congratulating each other and discussing how out of breath and tired they are, as Novi comes in for Canada next with just 160 metres to go. And you can see the effect, you can see that line, and you sort of pedal and pedal and pedal, and it doesn't necessarily seem to get any closer sometimes, particularly if you're tired. But there is a certain pleasure when you actually cross that line, and of course if you're riding it, you get the noise of that applause on the right. Representing Brazil, Rodarte is 117th in the Hube jersey, just crossing the line here to the usual applause from the Wahoo RGT avatars at the side of the road. Maria Vitsky from Puerto Rico runs racing for, oh dear, she's just been pipped in the end by Ruislip. That's a little bit of a shame, isn't it? Maria looks after various cyclists and helps organise things out in Puerto Rico. Does a great job out there, and she races in our races, all just losing a place to Danielle Gaunt as well. So Danielle nicking places superbly for Danielle, but sadly for Maria, she just lost out to another lady in the ladies competition, lost a place to Ruislip, which means points. Wendy Wonderwheels, Wendy Gallagher from New Zealand coming in next, Van der Laan also there. Gavin Grant, my friend from the south of France, lives near the Pyrenees, looks after people doing cycle rides out there if you need anybody to help you and show you around. And Mendes next. Riak putting out a strong ladies team, and I think Riak might be the team to beat in the ladies team classification. Kurz is next. The avatar looking very focused there, the eyes dead set ahead on the final 500 metres or so that she's got. And rather striking jersey there, isn't it? The I'd say the red, it's almost like some kind of Belgian, it's not a Belgian flag because the colours are in the wrong order, aren't they? But it's got that sort of German flavour with the green jersey. It's quite a striking kit, it has to be said. So another 300 metres to go, and we get the view of what the finishing line looks like. You can just about see it there, and it's sort of, you know, it seems to, you want it to get bigger and bigger and bigger as you push away breathlessly towards that line. You can see it's just getting bigger now. That's comforting. There are little signs at the side. You can see just going through the 100 meters to go, 75 meters to go signs, 50 meters to go, 25 meters to go, and you could almost sit up and roll over the line at that point. So well done, Kurz, finishing there. Lisa West, the lady who organises Twickenham ladies. Oh, Jose Espinosa, just taking a bit of a sprint there. He's the other half of Maria in Puerto Rico. Not a young man, so that's quite an impressive sprint actually. Oh, Kimber's going to give it a go. Oh, could Kimber actually grab that back? I think he's going to, isn't he? Look, Kimber looking strong. Oh, poor old Jose did all that work and had it pinched from him on the line. I'm sure he'll be decent about that. And another one of the Twickenham ladies, as I say, Lisa West, who we just saw finish, organises the Twickenham ladies. Linda Van Dyke runs the ladies team Smile On. If you'd be interested in joining that, Linda is looking for a few more riders. She's just put it together, so a few more lady riders in her team would be fantastic. She's a lovely lady, so you'll enjoy riding in her team. I know she's picked up some riders. It's very short notice, but some couldn't ride tonight, but that team will get stronger. Judy Frankel as well is a recent joiner to this series, coming in 131st. She'll be probably reasonably pleased with that. I mean, I still don't think 31 minutes, I mean, it's not, you know, if you ever go on a club time trial, there's people who do that time, so and she's probably at the time trial this, isn't she, whereas people in the peloton haven't, so that's quite an impressive result. Well done, Judy, fantastic. And you can see the finishing line getting ever closer, and that little bit of relief. So behind Judy we've got Jessica Wright, Pace and Lisa Snell and Eiley. So 135 looking like they're going to finish, which is quite a strong finishing. Here's Jessica Wright, and I think she had a little bit of trouble on the start with a dropout or something, so I'm not, you know, she might be a little bit disappointed that she's not quite where she thinks she ought to be, but I know Jessica, and she is not a quitter. She will just take it on the chin and slug it out, and that's what she's doing here. And 32 minutes, I think she'll be reasonably pleased with that. And well done, Jessica, and well done all the ladies here. And we've got Pace, Snell and Riley. I don't know if that's Riley or Eiley to be honest, but watch Jessica finish in the resplendent West London cycling kit, of course, matching all the banners and the boardings at the side. Pace next is I'm in that LC jersey. It's great to see so many ladies in this race, isn't it? So it's fantastic. And don't forget, they're really racing against each other, so these are all good points, and as I say, they're not going to suffer small points in the way that men will at these sorts of positions, because the Ladies League is designed to start the count back from the first lady and not from the first finisher in the race. And the idea is that you can get into these races and get in groups of men and maybe draft them, sprint over the line, grab a couple of places from a couple of guys, and score extra points in the Ladies League. It's slightly convoluted the way we score it, but it's designed, you know, it's with, you know, there is a reason for it, is what I'm trying to say, and it's designed to make the ladies competition more exciting. Lisa Snell absolutely loves doing these, and it's lovely to see Lisa again. I think it's the third time this week. I think I didn't see her Sunday for the club ride, but she certainly came to the club social night we had on Sunday with husband and son as well, both keen cyclists, the cycling family. So over to the results. Secure the bag, as we know, pipping Matt Hammond. Great result for Ned Bowen, pipping Marisak, Miles Askew, Jan Varner, Sesson, Carolina. Matt Looker hitting 9th in his first race. Nick Greenouch down in 10th. John Samat 11th. Tom Cakes, Jonathan Crane, all in there. Some big names to look out for. So where does that leave the standings? Well, naturally, because it's only one race, everything's in the same order as the finishing the first race. The interesting thing, of course, Ladies League, which is not so obvious, and Caroline Reuter, as we said, was the first lady home, beating Judith Newton just by one place. The way the points count accumulated here is slightly convoluted, but you can see there are 20 women taking part in the race, and we were delighted with that. And well done, ladies. Plenty of battles to go on in that one. The teams: Ratio Racing ahead of Draft, Moonriders, Pokemotion, Glasgow United Peddlers, Ratio Rating Orange, Southborough District Wheelers, top of the clubs, Twickenham just behind them. OTR down in 9th, a little bit surprised at that. REAC at 11th, making their debut. Plenty more from that. Ladies teams: REAC Women, West London Ladies getting most of the points there. So we'll see you for race 6.2 in 2 weeks' time. Look forward to seeing you.